don't think there's quite as many people.
No.
Stop jumping on the bandwagon, George. More of your story.
Where's I coming in? All right, this year. Go and beef for dog, I don't need any sandwiches.
Goes quite fast, and probably goes faster than the real one does. Stop it in the play box. Boys back. It all folds up as for the real one to an R6 trailer, which is basically that width round side. The way it all folds up is stop it like that with that arm pointing towards the back. When the car lays there like that, these three cars fold up. Pull these two pins out here, those two pins out there, and these two arms fold round towards the front. Two of the cars come off, that's where it all folds
Try
up.
that again a bit slower. Pull two pins out there, two pins out there, just a little bit slower.
Yeah, these two arms fold round towards the front. Yeah, stops like that. Take these two cars off. Probably just fold up the two sides, fold up like that, and fold round towards the front. The base is, there's a winch in the middle. It's on, the cable comes up. You bolt these brackets onto the side faces. There and there. Bolt down so the winch can pull the sides up. everything you see on the machine is all self-contained, so nothing goes in a cardboard box, everything folds onto the trailer. Sign all folds down. This track tuner here, this is the one that tows it along. Fits underneath the front.
How long did it take you to make your first lorry?
That lorry took about 4 years to build. And so they're both VRFs, both the engines and transmissions and axles are the same. So it's just a matter of copying them to make the second one.
Can you show them how the cab tilts and
Yep.
sunroof opens? And...
So they both got similar engines and gearboxes. This is the generator on the back.
Oh, so good at some imitation, is it?
Closed on, isn't it?
How did you make the cube on the top there? That's totally enclosed.
Yeah, if you look at one of the sides on it,
Trade secrets now.
yeah, this side here, the bolts are on back to front, so you'll just take the two nuts off and you can get inside the cube.
Well, yes, I think.
It is Blackburn 1912, one to be precise. Well, what I'll do, I'll just have a few words about the prototype first and then go on to the model afterwards, okay? Prototype, Blackburn monoplane, is one of several aeroplanes that reside in the Shuttleworth Museum down near Bedford. Well worth a visit if you're an aeroplane type. I've got one or two planes before in the museum, but this is number 3. The reason for the choice of this one is my son decided he would make this as a flying model in the next few months, in the winter months. And I said, well, are you sure when you finished it that it'll fit in your Fiesta? Plus yourself and anyone. I said, I'll tell you what, I will make one the same model exactly in Meccano, and we will try the Meccano one in first, before we commit a couple of $100 worth of balsa wood and glue into a model that won't fit in the car. So that's what we've done, and by spice of luck, it does just fit in the Fiesta, providing you build it. So it's a close thing though, but there you are. That was one of the main reasons for choosing this model. There. No problem with air cooling on those. The strange thing about a rotary engine, I suppose some of you are well aware, is that it doesn't have a throttle as such. You just start it up and it goes one speed, i.e. flat out. If you want to slow down, you just cut the ignition and let it calm down a bit, and if you think you're too low, you let the button go and it speeds up, and if you're too high, you press it. And that's the sort of caper you have coming into land, just cutting the throttle and letting it go. I can't demonstrate that, but at least the propeller itself, I'll give you a whiz in a minute with that. Wheels, well, mainly Meccano, as you can see, there's just a bit more outside of the wheel disc. But they're strictly non-Meccano, and so apart from the pilot and the wheels, I think it's all... Oh, and the motor is one of these jokers from one of these radio-controlled buggies, you know, the Japanese radio-controlled buggies. They're quite good little motors, actually. So that's the prototype. The model, well, 100-inch span. I forget how long the body is now. But when you come to build it, it's a relatively simple model to build, really. Because as you see, there's a horizontal line running straight through down that angle girder. So as long as you plonk down one angle girder there, and the matching one on the other side, and build it like a little flat platform. No, they call it the crutch. Once you've got a flat platform that long, just put your roundy bits on the top, and your diamond bits on the bottom, and that's the body more or less done. The wings you build over the plan, over the drawing, quite simple. The tricky bit is when you put the wings onto the fuselage. I made the mistake of underestimating the pressure that's generated there. From that pivot, they sort of swing in and compress the body, and it tended to go a bit... So I had to put a couple of meaty crush struts in there. And sure enough, when I looked at the original one, what was there? 2 meaty crush struts across the fuselage. I see why they're there now. But apart from that, I mean, nothing much to it really. Oh, I haven't got this... bit here. I didn't know what that was at first. I thought it was decorative, but I realised that these rotary engines actually spew oil down that way and up that way. Doesn't matter about that, the oil going down, but the oil coming up ends up in the pilot's face. So you have a oil guard there. That's if the engine does rotate, we'll give it a whirl. Oh yes, it's going today.
Now flip this way.
Oh yes. It does go.
I can confirm what you say about the known rotary engine hypothesis.
When I saw the sabre, made a note of its number, and then went home and I realised that I had actually flown the one that is in the RAF Museum at Hendon. Words can't really describe the elation I felt. Then, as I think we've all read ad nauseam, and I'm not going to mention it again after now, I've had a painting marathon on Meccano, and I thought, right, what is the quickest way to mutilate everything I've painted? So, here we go. I started this. I've got 2 definitive books on the sabre at home. I brought one, and this, trying to find a scale for it, was the most difficult thing. Because I had to fit the mechanism into it. The jet engine doesn't do anything, as it were. Put a hairdryer in the back or something, but that's not really very effective. Therefore, the undercarriage has to operate, and all the flying controls have to operate, the air brakes and so on. And using that as a starter, and then the question of scale came up. How big does it have to be so that you can get all these wing-wams inside? And it came out at 1/6 full size. The wingspan on this, when finished, will be 6 feet, just over. The full-size one span is just over 36 feet. So having hit that size, and having fortunately got a set of drawings in the back of one of the definitive books, not this one, I then set to on the computer and scanned the drawings in and produced a half full-size, half model size drawing, of which I could use a pair of dividers and an ordinary perspex rule and do me plus or minus quarter of an inch act here or there on the hole spacings, and you'd be surprised where Sod's law comes into it. There's that many even numbered strips in it that it's ridiculous, and we go on 90% odd numbers. So this is as far as I've got. The model will split into 4 pieces, 2 wingtips, a tail, and this piece. Unfortunately, it's on scaffolding. It has to be, otherwise you can't manage it. Nothing is switched yet. I've gone out of the Meccano system only as far as it's been necessary to use micro switches. Everything else, as far as possible, and I could name about a dozen items which are not Meccano, and they are not structural critical. One of the pieces is a piece of perspex for the radar gun sight. There are no switches on this at all. It will eventually stand on a plinth. This is the embryo plinth, and when I say embryo plinth, everything is built 5 steps forward, 4 steps back, and start again, because Sod's law again operates that when you think you've got something right, you're an inch out and you've got to rebuild it. Or this side doesn't look like the other side, and on and on and on you go. So for the time being, with the battery charger under the table, we will press the undercarriage lower button, select. And we have, having done that, the nose wheel door drops, and the nose wheel drops down, and the door shuts afterwards. And now we hope we're cleared for landing. At the same time, once landed, of course, you need to steer the plane. It has nose wheel steering in a nominal fashion. Excuse me going for a control rod, but this control rod is connected to the rudder pedals, which are in the cockpit, and there is nominal, if people can see through me, nose wheel steering. It's only nominal, but it's there. The full-size one was, in fact, 30 degrees either side of centre. The control column will be driven rather than drive. The whole system on the original aircraft was hydraulic. All the controls are hydraulic, and when the plane was stopped engine off, the stick was rigid. But, as you can see from here, we do have a connection to go for the empennage. The rudder pedals we've already mentioned, connection, and of course the ailerons, if we look at the universal gear there, you can see that rotate, ready for connecting through to the aileron controls. There will be another motor installed for the flaps, another motor for the air brakes, a motor for the gun sound is already installed. It doesn't do anything yet because I needed some cams, which I now bought today. And the hood or canopy will retract. Unfortunately, it has gone sick on me today. Packing it in the car, I put a blanket round it to stop everything moving, and I've twisted something. But I'm going to cheat. This is the embryo canopy. If I lift up and just drag backwards, you can see that the canopy will in fact retract. It operates on racks and gears. Right. The ejector seat, American pattern, not Martin Baker, lifts out. The cushions are there because the pilot always used to wear a backpack parachute, that is represented, and a dinghy which was as hard as hell with a CO2 cylinder right underneath your legs here. When you're pulling 7G, that used to break your legs. The dinghy used to be strapped to your backside, and of course the straps for holding you in. The three other umbilicals are communications, which is the yellow cord, oxygen, the thin one, and the G-suit, which used to have a special slot cut in the side of your trousers for your G-suit connection. It used to have a pipe sticking down your trousers. It used to look funny on parade. And it wasn't for anything else anyway. And that G-suit connection is there. You could, in fact, wearing a G-suit, pull approximately 7G. Now, on the model also, there are various salient milestones like that, which is the highest point of the fuselage, and this is the approximate shape of the fuselage where it will split. The main air intake I have foreshortened because I wanted to get all the gubbins inside so it would work, and in place ammunition cans. These are represented quite simply by a plastic plate and a couple of curvy strips, which just lodge in on the heads and tails and nuts and bolts that are already in there. That all comes out for servicing so that you can retune the micro switches for the sequencing for raising and lowering the undercarriage. The guns motor you'll probably hear. No, you won't have connected the wrong things. Forgive me. You hear that? It will go ta 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 ta, I hope, and we'll have the undercarriage back up again. It was all originally done by sequence hydraulics. Thank you.